Hello and welcome to this episode of the Frontier Tech Series, hosted by the Central Insights Unit of GSMA Mobile for Development. This is a fireside chat with experts from the mobile industry on the opportunity to leverage frontier technologies for sustainable development. And today, we're very happy to have with us John Kamara, who's the founder of the AI Center of Excellence Africa. For this conversation, we will discuss how to develop local AI capacity and skills in Africa for digital solutions that address African challenges. These include making food systems more resilient, climate action, and also to support improved healthcare delivery, just to name a few examples. The premise of this conversation is to focus on the key enablers for a thriving AI ecosystem. And in this conversation, we're really keen to do that. At GSMA, we have spent some time recently developing analytical frameworks that account for enablers of the AI ecosystem. First and foremost, data, but also crucially digital skills and AI skills in particular, as well as digital infrastructure, such as computer power and mobile networks. So this is for the introduction. John, welcome to our Frontier Tech video series.
Hi, Daniele. Thank you very much for having me. Happy to be here.
Nice to have you, John. So, John, you have previously described yourself as an AI enthusiast. Since 2020, you've been involved in a number of initiatives, and the common denominator of these initiatives has been to build AI solutions for Africa, in Africa. Tell us about your work. How and why did you start?
So my work predominantly is around the use of data for intelligence. And on top of that, how to then build artificial models that really support us to, develop, solutions and solve problems that the naked eye can't see, especially in areas of healthcare, like you said, agriculture, and more importantly, also to help build a lot more AI companies, driven startups in the continent. So that is really the ideology when I first started in 2020. Obviously across different sectors, but really piggyback on how do you understand data and how do you use data for intelligence and how do you make sure the data is structured, but then back what are the expertise required for you to really be able to harness that opportunity. So that's what I've been doing. And, across different sectors, I work in healthcare, I work in agriculture, I work in financial services. We do quite a lot of work in climate and environment right now as well. And that kind of but the underlying factor, like you said, is data and AI.
Fantastic. And in particular, you are working with the AI Center for Excellence in Africa. You have a Denyan Labs, which is a technology studio for startups. You're also working with a digital health startup yourself directly, right? You've created a digital health platform with your team. Tell us maybe a little bit more about these different ventures. If you can tell us how you distribute your time supporting all of these different activities.
Yeah, so Denyan Lab really is a mothership. It's a venture technology studio, which is a very interesting model, which is different from an acceleration or incubation model. It's a very American model, but then taking that model and sort of, customizing it for the continent where we had limited resources, we had limited cash flow. So how do you still achieve a shared service value? So I brought two other co-founders. So I actually don't run it myself. It's just that you see me quite a bit. So I have two other co-founders who run every single day the different parts of the business. So, but in that framework, also each one of us had our own ideas of projects that we wanted to do. So the idea was, can we share our resources? Can we share our energy? In the presence of lack, can we still do amazing things? And I think that's really the beauty of a venture technology studio like that, where you can still survive with very limited infrastructure, and then share your energy together to be able to, achieve the purpose. So Afia Record was one of those specific things that I was doing in the studio. And then AICE was sort of like the underlying factor of we needed to set up an AI Center of Excellence that will allow us to really help all these ventures that we're doing. So that is sort of like the idea and the strategy around what we're doing.
Okay, fantastic. And regarding the work of the AI Center of Excellence, you have previously described it as an outcome-driven AI training. What do you mean by that?
So again, hypothesis philosophy is I provide skills for an outcome that exists. So the outcome is jobs. How do we create jobs for a lot more young Africans? And AI data science is a big area that we can access job opportunities for a lot of young Africans and really grow economies of scale. And what I call the trickle down effect can then happen across societies and economies at a larger scale. So I look at specific areas, which is data science, data engineering, AI, and say, okay, the jobs exist. And if the jobs exist, where are those jobs? Can I connect with those jobs? And now can I train people into those jobs? And in that framework, I find specific problem statements in the training itself. So it's very hands-on, less theoretical. So you're doing a lot of problem statements. So you're basically readily employable, or you're readily able to actually go and do something for yourself. And that's really the difference in what I call, you provide a digital skill for specific opportunity.
Okay, so following up on this point, can you give us an example on how you are in practice developing at the AI Center of Excellence AI-based African solutions for local problems? So, for example, you have developed a data-driven digital agriculture solution for smallholder farmers. How did you come up with that, and how have you achieved that vision of creating such a solution?
So through the AI Center of Excellence, we have three pillars. So we have capacity and digital skilling, we have product development, and then we have product as a service, where we provide for a service for clients. So in that particular one fits in the product. So one of the things in 2021, we started discussing about problems around agriculture, resilience, and climate for farmers. And a lot of people were doing different things, but we thought, okay, what is the one thing that we can add that will also make a difference and not replicate what everybody else was doing? And one of the things we realized was there was a lack of data that was structured enough to do, a lot of the stuff that people wanted to do in this space. And we also thought that the form of data that was coming was very one-sided. There was no data coming from the farmer themselves in a structured format. There was all this geospatial climate data coming from everyone else into them, but can we also get them to become part of the data ecosystem, where they also provide structured data which we can match together to do a lot more, what I call real-time intelligence for these folks. So then we did quite a bit of research around it. We had meetings with NVIDIA, who became our partner, and said, okay, can we build a prototype of something like this that connects both the farmer data in real time, existing data? So we started looking for different data partners, Caro, Planet, all these other folks who have data. It's like, can we train a model that takes the existing data, understand, but also takes the data that is coming in real time, and then combine both together and start actually becoming the self-learning engine. So we put and so part of one of our cohorts was actually that problem statement we put into the cohort actually. So that's actually how we also try to get a lot of people's idea of how this could work in a real world environment. And really that's kind of like the birth of the One Farmer project, to say, okay, if we can launch it actually our first place we were thinking of launching it was either Mali, Malawi, or Mozambique, one of those countries that were really affected, but just building from Kenya and then looking at other African market to really had, those very strong problems, but then also then making it very affordable, also making it accessible by, connecting it to a USSD solution as well.
Fantastic. And the project is still running. How is it doing?
Yeah, so the problem would be one of the big challenges of the project was infrastructure. Because to process large amounts of data, you need very high power computing, high power applications. So we had to figure that out first, and luckily our partners NVIDIA provided us with quite a lot of high power workstations. We had other partners, so we kind of at phase one where we're now testing a lot of the algorithms to see how they're working. Crop care, it's working really well. I'm really excited. We can see the feedback coming in real time to then say, okay, now that we are sort of like seeing that this is potentially working with all the tests that we're doing, can we now begin to look at how we scale it? So yeah, it's been an interesting 1.5 year journey actually on this thing.
Okay, fantastic. So you mentioned infrastructure as one of the challenges, and we've also talked briefly about the need for AI skills and the need to link them to real needs, as well as the importance to enhance local R&D capacity, for AI-driven solutions. But besides skills and infrastructure, the other building block is data. You mentioned as well that in your previous comment. Given capacity and skills, let's say that these are available, well-structured data must be there, right, to build AI models, such as smallholder farming solutions that you've developed in Kenya. Is that data available? Is it of good quality? Is it accessible in Africa? What is your experience?
What do you think?
I have some ideas, but I'd like to hear.
Yeah, just, I mean, you guys see so much data. So, I mean, but anyway, I mean, from my view, I think that's one of our biggest problems, real, valid, quality, structured data. And that's also accessible and that moves, that is mobile, and that people can access also at, affordable cost. And so that's where one of the big problems that I think we all need to kind of think through, because the problem with the data itself exists because also the human capital, people who are supposed to collect, provide, guard this data, don't actually understand data very well. So one of the things that I created recently was this thing I call the PDI model, people data infrastructure, that, we need to go back to people first. We need to really get people. It's not training about data science. We need to, really provide, capacity knowledge for people around data, how to collect it, how to store it, the need for it to be useful for everyone, and the need for open data platforms, so that, because without this, it doesn't matter what we do. You'll have your own data in silo, I'll have mine in silo. This person who has more money can have it. The ecosystem as a whole will not have enough, data points for us to actually, really build an intelligence, even with all the skills. So I think there's a big problem in that particular space. I think both private and public sector are thinking about it differently. I think there's a lot of broken sequences in people who are supposed to collect the data and how it's collected. And I think there's a lot of assumptions that people know what they're doing.
Yeah. John, I wanted to ask you, besides the data infrastructure skills discussion, I wanted to ask you about commercial sustainability. I've seen you speaking before about the need for commercially sustainable solutions. We talk about AI for impact, right? We're very driven by, at least in the work that we do at Mobile for Development, in supporting challenges such as climate action, agriculture and food security, clean air and energy, healthcare delivery. But we need commercially viable, scalable solutions. So how can an impact-oriented AI startup, let's say, marry impact with commercial return? Is it happening in your experience?
Are you throwing me a very difficult question? I think it's really hard right now. I think, because so much focus is on impact that even the companies or the startups they don't understand commercial viability in, because it's either impact or sustainability. Yes, which is great. But because also in Africa, a lot of what we're talking about is AI for public and social good. So, but the philosophy is you have to talk about social and commercial good at the same time, in parallel. Because again, as a continent, if we truly want to extract the power of AI, it is actually in the commercial value to us, in the job creation, in the opportunity to solve problems, So impact alone is not enough. And I don't think that a lot of businesses here, because of the cost of building AI companies, the cost of building AI infrastructure, that's where the impact happens a lot, because the people who fund these things are impact-driven agenda. So, even if I build a startup, the people who fund me because of the cost of it are impact-driven. So I am only going to know about impact. There's nowhere for funding for people who know what you call patient capital, for people who want to build both impact and commercially viable businesses. And, the agenda of the person giving you the money is a little bit different. So that's kind of like one of the biggest problems that I see, that while you're not seeing a lot of AI companies here who are commercially viable or who think about commercial viability, but because the overarching conversation all the time is only about impact, which is good, important, extremely important, equally as important as commercial viability. So I call it commercially viable impact agenda.
Yes, I like it. Commercially viable impact agenda. Absolutely. And related to this point, let's talk about maybe different markets in Africa where you might see a greater opportunity, or where you're seeing greater traction in the AI ecosystem. when we're talking about the opportunity to generate impact, but also to develop scalable, commercially viable solutions. Too often we talk broadly about Africa, but obviously it's a very big and different region with different contexts and different ecosystems and needs. In your experience, where have you seen more traction or greater opportunities to do work?
I mean, I think South Africa still has a strong opportunity because of, the AI ecosystem is much stronger in South Africa because of the likes of, Cape Town, University of Cape Town, Stellenbosch, and what's happened. And also a lot of companies started much more earlier involving in AI, even providing solutions for global clients. Obviously, you have countries like Morocco who have a strategy and planning. Obviously, we saw what happened with Instantly in Tunisia, but I'm not sure the ecosystem itself is really. Then you got like places like Nigeria and Kenya who are embracing AI, but the question is, are they embracing AI for development or companies? Are we embracing AI for development of policies? Or are we embracing AI for the development of talent for commercial? So there's like each country sort of, the narrative is a little bit different in each country. And I think there has to be a situation where they truly understand the focus of where social and commercial good first, and then see how. I think Rwanda, they just came up with an AI policy just recently. I looked at it, very interesting, very impressive, well written, well put together. How do you implement that?
Yeah. Implementation, absolutely. Yeah, it's very exciting to see Rwanda now having a comprehensive framework for AI. And it's an interesting point as well about what you say about Nigeria and Kenya, which are the hotspots of innovation in the region. But the question is, how are they embracing AI as well at an enabling, I guess, level in terms of policy and regulation and overall ecosystem readiness to implement AI technology in an already vibrant tech context. Okay.
Just to add one thing, I think one of the, my view is that we focus so much on policy in AI over the past, and I think we spoke about this briefly, over the past year of this AI craze and frenzy and madness. We focus so much on policy and we've forgotten the policy for development of AI education in our institutions and the policy that actually allow us to capacitate and provide resources to develop AI companies and what it takes. So we focus on the policy around ethics and trustworthiness and all those great things, but governance. But if you govern and do all those things before you innovate, you're dead. The innovation itself is where your policy should really lie. What is the policy around innovation? How do we support innovation first? Understanding all the gaps in innovation, building policies around them, then building policies around university where you bring AI education. Then you can say, okay, well, in parallel, we can also talk about the ethics because we can now take the ethics and put it in here while we're getting people. So we have the opportunity on day one to put those ethics in. So that's one of also the other things that sort of concerns me quite a bit in the continent right now.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point, and it links back to what we were saying at the beginning, the importance to invest in digital skills and capacity in the first place, and maybe not focus too much or only the conversation on ethical approaches to AI and AI frameworks. Once AI is already being used, but we need to get the youth and we need to get the innovators to really build up skills. Fantastic, John. I feel we could talk for many more minutes about this, but we have limited time. So I wanted to thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much.
And this concludes our episodes of the Frontier Tech series hosted by the Central Insights Unit of GSMA Mobile for Development. Thank you to our audience for watching, and please look out for more episodes that will be coming out soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniele.